the unconscious edge. So we solve problems of the mind on this. And the cool thing is that it's generally a small group, so we get to work individually and overcome any obstacles that you're having.
Dope, brother. Dope.
Is there anything that I can help you with today when it comes to mindset or anything going on in your life, whether it be personal or professional, that I can assist?
Yeah, man. I mean, I guess, geez, like when it comes to like mindset, I mean, and just kind of like maybe like really approaching the sales game in a way that allows you to win. Like what would, your I mean, like how do you even approach it? I've just to give you maybe a little bit of context, been in the sales game for about 8 months now.
Okay.
Uh did pretty well early on. I wasn't really operating on a predictable model. So kind of like, sales dipped significantly. I'm in the insurance industry,
Okay.
by the way. And so right now I'm kind of like ramping back up, really trying to just build, something that is predictable for myself from scratch. And so, kind of like trying to when it comes to kind of like setting goals, expectations, I don't know, frustrations maybe, or like just mindset in general. Like how would you say like a good approach would be, or like kind of
Yeah,
like
let's if we can just narrow it down a little bit, let me ask you a question.
sure.
What's the problem you're experiencing that you don't want to experience any longer?
I don't want to have an unpredictable revenue.
Okay. Why is that a
I don't
problem for you right now?
because of I guess like the because of how I feel internally when it is unpredictable. I'd like to have a little bit more certainty in my life as it pertains to finances.
Okay. Was there a time that you had that before?
Not particularly, no.
Okay. What have you done so far just in terms of putting in the predictability when it comes to finances?
I have tried to ameliorate my skill set. You know what I mean? Tried to I guess I mean I've been in sales for quite some time. But really just trying to like level up my skill set in a way that does feel predictable, trying to like, be in like different opportunities, things of this nature, just really trying to optimize a system where I am able to, predict income, predict revenue, predict sales.
Okay. Hey, what's up, Jack? Just to give you a heads up, we're talking about how do we create predictability in sales around like what's the mindset required for that? And then if you got a problem we can solve, we'll check in with you as soon as we wrap this up. So when we're talking about predictability in sales and creating a predictable model for yourself, the first thing that I'd be curious to know is like what is the goal for you? Like, and so to give you a little background, prior to getting into the mindset and psychology world, I owned a gym for 10 years.
Okay.
We did really great. We hit $1 million run rates up and down from there. So we did a lot of sales. And one of the things that I always thought for myself in terms of the mindset is I turned it into a game. So if I wanted to create a predictable revenue stream, it wasn't so much of like, how do I grind myself there? But I would take my number I want to hit and work backwards. So if you have a number in your head that you want to have, whether it's monthly or weekly, like what would that be? And I guess, have you identified that first in terms of a
Yeah, I,
goal?
I would say at least like as a first year, I'd probably say like 15K a week.
Okay. So then my next question, what's it take for you to get 15K a week? How many sales do you need?
Honestly, I guess like that's 15K a week. I mean, somewhere between 10 to I would say 12 probably.
Okay, what's your close rate?
And that's honestly something that I'm currently tracking.
This is Billy.
Sorry, give me just 1 second here.
Something that you are or are not tracking.
I am like I just recently kind of like purchased a dialer in order to kind of like track my numbers. Also lead source is something that I mean over the course of the past couple of months, I guess like the lead quality has kind of like gone down. So that's something that's changing. That's been variable. So I'm trying to kind of like find a consistency with the different variables in order to be able to predict that number or
Okay,
have an
well,
accurate number. Yeah,
so here's a different way to look at this.
sure.
If we don't know our numbers, or if we're not clear on the data required to hit our goal, then it makes it perfectly normal to be afraid we're not going to hit our goal.
Right.
But if you knew exactly what you needed to do, and you knew the exact number of dials you had to do, the exact close rate you're at, you probably would have a pretty good predictable revenue, right?
For sure. Yes.
So in this case, when I think about when taking a look at what's the mindset approach to this is I would turn it back into to you of how can I create a system that is going to make my mind at ease that I know exactly what I need to do and what I'm going to do, and also if I screw up, what can I adjust along the way? So to tie this back into now like actual real life data, I would like, I mean, go look at your last 100 calls, tell me what your close rate was, like tell yourself what your close rate was and go off that. Now here's your close rate. So let's just say you say 12 sales a week.
Yeah.
All right, so 12 sales a week, and let's say you have a 50% close rate. You need 24 calls a week.
Yep.
And then let's say out of 24 calls that you get on the phone with and have a conversation, that takes you, let's say out of all the people you call, only 50% pick up, which is probably really high. But let's just say
Right.
50% for easy numbers. So
Yeah.
we need to make 48 calls to get 24 conversations, right? Now let's say how many leads do we need to get 48 calls? Well, let's double it again. We need 96 leads. Like these are very easy numbers and not realistic in the world, but just give you
Right.
a really clear example of how you can make this image in your mind so clear that there's no fear. Is
Gotcha.
that like if you woke up on Monday and you knew that you need to get 100 leads, you need to dial the phone 50 times, and out of those 50 times, you need to get 25 conversations and then close 12 and a half of them. It'd be a pretty easy week, right?
Right. Right.
And then every single week, you knew if you were missing out on those numbers, whether or not your skill set's improving or not improving, and you would know the specific area that you need to improve in.
So I guess like my question would be like when it comes to that, because like I mean I guess the changing variables aspect of it is really what makes it a little bit confusing. I mean I'll just tell you my numbers from yesterday. It's like 217 leads dialed. I think 15 conversations. I think maybe like three of them went into a presentation and I had like one close. Right. So that's kind of like fairly like I mean so like based on that data, right? Like would you like what variable would you change? Would you more assess like the skill set or would you more like would you like assess like okay, maybe it's the lead source or lead type or whatever have you. Like what when how or when do you know what variable to change, I guess is a good question.
What's the one that gets you more money?
I haven't tried other lead sources, so I'm not sure about that one. And then,
Yeah, Jack. I mean, this is a great one from Jack here.
what did I say?
Like, that he put in the chat. So what I'm showing you is how to reverse engineer your numbers. And the math probably got a video that does this in depth and detail for different industries. Again, I'm not in the insurance industry, so I don't know the data off the top of my head or what's good numbers. But the thing that gets you more money is sales.
Right.
So I would improve my sales close rate first. Once I've
Mm-hmm.
improved my sales close rate, I look at the next variable. But I wouldn't go and blame it on leads if the people I'm talking to, because like, if you're getting conversations but you're still not closing them, that doesn't necessarily mean they're bad leads,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I wouldn't go worrying about bad leads yet until you've got your sales closing percentage up to whatever the industry standard is, or ideally whatever Matt's standard would be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then I would go back, I would work that way.
Okay.
Like I like think like you always want to like I would always start from the place that's going to get me more money today, which is closing more sales.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could get quote unquote better leads, but that doesn't mean you're going to close more sales if you're not closing the sales. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would take your numbers over the last, let's say, week to start and average it. What is the average sale? What's the average close rate on every single call through all
Hmm.
those numbers?
Hmm.
And if you're below the standard, then I would improve the skill set on, see what you can do and implement one thing that you can put in place to improve your skill set. The difficulty that you're having is you're focusing on seven different things you're trying to fix, right? Fix one thing. Once you fix the one thing, then you can look at the next one and say, okay, I got my close right now, but I'm not getting pickups. What can I do to get better pickups? And then you hit that. And then let's say, all right, and now I'm getting better pickups, but I need more leads. Boom, what's the lead source? And we hit that. But I would always revert to the thing that's going to get you more dollars, especially because if the fear is in predictability of revenue, the best way to increase that is to increase your sales capability. Because then again, back to the mindset. If you were had the confidence and certainty in your mind that you knew that every time that you talk to five people, you close two of them, I would say you'd be very confident in talking to five people as often as you can.
Right.
Right. So if we want to get the mindset up and the certainty in that area, focus on that. Be so absolutely certain in what you're selling and that you can do it that you know if you talk to X amount of people, you're going to get the result. And then you can work into the other data pieces that are not as effective, but it's going to get you more volume. Does that make sense? Like, make sense
It
on
does,
that?
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Any questions on anything else with that?
I mean, the only thing that I would add to that maybe is the only thing that I might add to that is sometimes like the lead source.
Mm.
I'm not, the lead source is sometimes something that is, I don't know, like some people would call it like bait and switch. I don't know, like sometimes like the lead comes in like and it's kind of like it's intent. Sometimes they have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. So that's kind of like been a variable of like, okay, and it's been inconsistent. You know what I mean? So sometimes like the lead, I mean, like, yeah, sometimes you call the lead, it's like, hey, giving you a call in regards to this. They like, hey, yeah, absolutely, whatever. And then like my closing ratio on that is fairly high. But then the lead that sometimes you hit the lead, they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know, like what, like you guys have called me a million times. So it's kind of like I guess like a recycled lead or whatever have you. And it's just, like I haven't found consistency in the lead quality, if you will, which makes it kind of like really challenging to create predictable, numbers because it's like, okay, with this lead source, it's like, okay, like, yeah, I have a pretty high closing ratio when they have some type of intent,
Well,
but
what's the specific source that they have that they have the intent?
it's the same lead source. Sometimes they just come in this way, sometimes they just come in this way. I don't know whether like the algorithm changes that or whether like what it is, but
Where are
like
you getting your leads from?
they're in-house. They're provided by the agency that I work with. As far as I know, everything is fairly consistent. As far as
Are
I know.
you, I guess, how are you going to effectively change the lead source of the agency that you work with?
Honestly, just like maybe purchasing, I mean, this is something that I've done this week, but I've purchased leads outside of the agency.
Are those leads better than the ones that the agency is providing?
That
Do
would
you,
be
do you
my,
have a data? Do you have the data to show it? Would be the question I'd ask.
I do not.
Get the
Aside
data.
from like referrals or just referrals. Like people have, kind of like guided me to this individual. So I'm like, hey, I'd like to purchase a batch of leads this week, for whatever. So that's kind of like that's what I've done this week.
So I would say like when we started this conversation, I asked you what your closing percentage is. You couldn't answer the question.
Hmm.
When you can answer that question, your sales will improve. Like you
What's
got
my
you
closing?
Yeah, like you have to know your closing rate, like, and you should know it confidently that you can do this. Because you're looking for you're looking for alternatives to change that aren't changing you, to bring it back to mindset. Like we want to get the sales closing rate up, so get your data on that first, so that way you can accurately say that this lead source is crap. Because you can compare it to another lead source. But if you don't have the closing rate between them, it's going to be very difficult to compare the two. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Like ultimately you need I don't know how, I guess I don't know how else to make it more clear. You need clear data in order to be able to decide which direction to go in. Without clear data, you're just guessing of what's wrong and you don't really know. Let the data tell you.
Gotcha. So you think optimize, like just address close rate first, find out what my close rate is with this lead source, and then find out what it is with this other lead source.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for, like, again, if the problem is predictable revenue, you need to close more sales. So I would increase your closing rate. If the next problem is lead source, okay, I've got predictable revenue because I can predict my closing rate. But if you can't predict the closing rate consistently, meaning it's up and down all the time, then I would consider the possibility of it being a lead source. But if you can't actually say the close rate, then you don't know that that's the factor. That's my point. Like you have to have your clear data in order to be able to identify this accurately. Otherwise, you're just guessing.
And what do you feel like is a good sample of time for you to assess that close rate from?
I mean, based on the volume of calls that you're doing, I would do it every week. I would track your sales every single day and I would assess it at the end of the week. And if you have multiple lead sources, I would compare the two lead sources in the close rate to see which one is better.
Duly noted,
But like that's where like it's tedious little things that's going to be really good that's going to help you.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to do the work, It's just about
Yeah.
clarity. Like, what is it that I'm actually doing?
Well,
Um,
I guess that's the thing is we don't have it right now, which is why I'm offering like this as the
right,
idea is to
right,
get you clarity. Because
yeah,
once
yeah,
like again, when you're not clear, you're in fear. So
right.
get clear and you'll confidently know what to do. That's my point. Like
Duly
it will no longer be a question. And that confidence and certainty will translate to your own sales.
correct.
That makes sense?
It does.
You got this, dude. Like you're doing the right things. Just track the sales, get your close rate, and then make the adjustment you need to. Well, but just get
Copy
the
that.
data first.
You got it, man. Thank you,
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah, my pleasure,
Yes,
dude.
sir.
Jack, how can I help you?
Yeah,
Anything you got going on? Mindset, personal, professional? You
yeah.
tell me.
Before we get into that, Nazim, I would highly recommend checking out. I don't know if you have Patreon or YouTube subscription, but the first two sessions, like I said in there, Matt goes extremely granular on like what you should track, and based
Mhm.
off of your data, then you can actually truly analyze what should you fix next. What is the lowest hanging fruit? So I'd watch those two sessions if you haven't already. If you have, watch them again.
Duly
Um,
noted.
Yeah.
yeah.
Copy that. Okay.
But Brian, I guess uh my question for you is so I'm on a new offer now. Been here for like around 2 months now. Very new to sales. My first offer was like one of those typical um like very low lead volume, dialed like the whole CRM while I was there. When I first like started my first role, I was like very going after it, like doing very large dials. And now that I'm on a very established offer, um where like that hustle would pay off. I don't know. I I don't have that same drive that I did because it didn't pay off on the first offer, I guess. And
Okay.
I know putting in the number, like I know logically speaking, like putting in the numbers here would be beneficial, but I just can't bring myself to do it.
Gotcha. Can I make a good comparison for you on this?
Go for it.
Have you ever dated someone and had like a bad breakup?
Yeah,
Did you ever date someone again?
yeah, I did.
And the next time you did you put effort into it or did you put no effort into it?
I put effort into it.
And there was probably a different outcome.
Yeah.
So like that's a really simple example of this, but this is a very common thing of like you had a bad experience, like call like you had a bad experience at one place doing the right thing, which makes you hesitant to do it at this place because you don't want to be screwed over or whatever you might label it as. So what I would say is give it a chance to prove yourself wrong. You
Mm,
know, get like I would put the effort in and but give yourself expectations around it, you know? So, hey, I'm going to drive just like I would for, let's say, 30 to 90 days. Like, give it some time. And at the end of that 30 to 90 days, just like we're talking to Seam about, I'm going to have my numbers and I'm going to see the results. Is my drive and effort paying off? The other thing I would consider is that if you're in a different environment, that drive and effort might look different. You might not have to go and do the volume of dials, but you can do a different drive and effort into whether improving the skill set, researching more about the leads, getting like, you know, what is the way that you can take that energy you have and put it into a positive force? Because we don't want to waste it.
mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Tell me what
Hmm.
you're thinking because I can see you thinking.
Yeah. As soon as you said like the effort might look different, I would say the maybe on my first offer, like the main effort was volume, and then probably the more of my time has definitely gone into skill set development or understanding our avatar here because we have a very
You're selling a higher ticket item here?
yeah, we're selling a higher ticket item. I work for Mastermind
Okay.
.com. It's with Dean and Tony.
So
Yeah, it's higher ticket.
this is a really great example of the importance of developing the mindset. Like when you're selling a lower end offer, you're selling to lower end individuals, which means like, so when we think about the mind, I'm trying to think of the fastest way to explain this for you. Like, so the way that I see the world is a little bit different now. Like, I don't hear your words, I see your thoughts because the thought precedes a word, right? So the ideas in your mind become thoughts, then thoughts become your language, language becomes your action and behavior. So when you're talking to a higher level individual, they're looking at more than just the offer. Like they're listening to the way you say the words, the type of words that you're saying, even your tone, like all of these additional things that go into developing your skill set. So getting to know like what would be very important in terms of making this different effort is how can you elevate yourself to be able to match them? Like to give you an example using my own world is when I was in the gym world, the first time I was personal training, selling $20 personal training sessions to people at a big gym. The gym we owned was the most expensive gym in the area. We sold transformation packages, the most expensive that anyone offered. A very different offer, very different environment, and very different type of clientele that we were speaking to. When I got into coaching into masterminds and I was selling gym owners into transforming their business, and now we're going from a, you know, 2 to 3K offer to a 10 to 20K offer. It's a very different conversation and understanding of them, but also an understanding of myself. So one of the things is like, again, your language and things that you might say, whether it just be in rapport building, like that gives away an energetic feel to the individual. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
even if you have a script, there's still things that you say that are not on script all the time. There's ways that you say things. There's a way that you say the script. You know, so any of those little instances where you're portraying to them that you're not their caliber or the right person is going to be detrimental to your sales. So taking this additional effort into learning about that avatar, like how do they speak, like what are they into, all of those things that go beyond just the script is going to be what takes you to that next level. Does that make sense on that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ask me something about it if you got questions so I can help you further because like that's my jam is understanding this deep, intricate like how the mind works and actually gets communicated from one individual to the other because it's deeper than like that's why someone can have the same script and it doesn't work. That's why you go to the
Hmm.
restaurant, there could be two cooks, one cook, everyone wants their pizza, and the other cook, no one wants it. Like there is a energy that goes into this that comes from the mind. Like mind precedes everything that you do. So what can you do to get your mind right before going into these conversations that's going to get you to that place where they're going to want to buy right away.
Hmm.
And you've experienced this where you've been sold to and you just like you have something about that person I don't want to buy from them. Or you walk into a room and you feel it's off. Like all that stuff is real. Getting to this level of sales and selling a higher ticket item is understanding how that plays into this as well.
Mm. Yeah. Okay.
And I think like some of the guys that I study like from this in the mental world, um, so IBM was amazing in terms of the way that they approached business and understanding that they needed to build the salesman's minds, not to build great minds of men that will build a great business was their philosophy of think. Like how do you actually think? Because most people don't think. And they used to say that a great salesman didn't have to actually go in and think of a script or anything because they already knew from the client's mind what they needed. So they knew exactly what to say, not because of a script, but because they understood the prospect so well that they knew in their mind what they were looking for. So how do you find out what's in their mind that they're looking for? And that comes from that deeper introspection and like taking that time. And that'd be something I recommend for both of you guys is understanding this concept of concentration and decentration. If all your time is spent grinding down, imagine it like a spiral. You're spiraling your mind down. It doesn't have any time to relax and expand. So as you're getting done with these days of sales and your calls, take some time, sit back, go for a walk, think about it. What was the pattern you recognized? Like I'm telling you, everything is patterns and you just have to see it. And when you pull yourself back a little bit, you'll see the pattern, you'll know exactly what to say to them.
Mm.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I got some ideas.
Yeah.
I
Like
do
to
have to
give you guys
run,
yeah, to give
but
you guys one more quick because I gotta go too.
yeah.
This is deeper into like understanding gender, but not in the way that we talk about it in our world. So everything has a gender, whether it be inanimate objects or human bodies, cells, all that stuff. So a thought is masculine. The foundation that receives a thought is feminine. A powerful enough masculine thought will impregnate a feminine foundation. Comes into certainty. If you can project your energy in the correct way, meaning clear mind, one focus, not 25 focuses in the seam, like one focus, like we're going to go all in on this and you're certain with it, your idea gets impregnated into their mind and it proliferates. Like the idea of conception, like all that stuff, or inception, all that stuff. So this is the importance of, again, getting your mindset elevated to a point where you're clear enough on the, not just the offer, but like, is it like it's right for this person? They need this because I know that they're dealing with X, Y, and Z. So that way there's no hesitancy in offering it because you understand it's exactly what they need. And that's why you can't be trying to like strong arm someone over. It's got to be a true offer to them that they need and you know will serve them. And when you believe that, it gets transmitted. That'd be my final stuff for you guys to think about.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I believe that wholeheartedly. Now, I mean, I guess sometimes like when you call people and they tell you I'm not interested or whatever have you, that kind of like changes your perceptions. Even though initially, I mean, I think that's kind of like what contributed to my success early on. But how do you like in the moment, you know what I mean? Because over the long term, I guess like having your metrics and all of that,
Mhm.
that helps out. But like in the moment, like how do I go from like this place to this place? It's like of having like that absolute certainty, like, yeah, I know I can help this guy, even or rather, how do you ignore the possibility of them not needing your help?
Acknowledge their reality. What I mean by that, like acknowledge their reality and make them smile. So someone's like, I have no idea why you're calling me. Hey, I'm so sorry. I thought that you were interested in what is the thing that that person wants. And generally everyone wants something,
Mm-hmm.
and if they don't, and if they truly don't want it, then don't keep offering it to them. Like I had to,
Okay.
like I canceled my Spectrum a few months ago. The guy tried to offer it to me down, like I moved. He tried to offer it to me at a new location 3 times. I had to repeat myself, said, I'm not interested in anything else today. All I'd like to do is cancel. It got to the point where I literally laughed and go, dude, you really can't help yourself, can you? You just won't shut up. Like, don't piss them off. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if they don't want to talk, don't talk. acknowledge they don't want to talk and be like, I'm so sorry. I thought that you wanted, I thought that this is what you're interested in. It might not be the case. If it's ever the case, here's my name. I'd love to talk to you about it. Like, which this might be different than what Matt says, but this is coming from like a more human aspect. Like, because
Mm-hmm.
consider what our world is today. Everything's a fucking sale.
Mm-hmm.
I get 25 text messages a day selling me shit that I don't even know how I got signed up for. So if you
Mm-hmm.
called me offering me something that I don't understand why you're offering me, I'm going to be pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Expect it. Make them laugh. You know what I mean? Like be like in a short way, like be a fucking human. Is kind of like what I'm saying, you know? Like
Mm-hmm.
how can you be so different than the phone call they're getting from every other person offering them something they don't fucking want?
Mm-hmm.
That would be in understanding that like if you're cold calling someone, they're gonna be pissed. Like so
Mm-hmm.
that the first like I always thought of sales as like what's the very first thing that you could do? Like what's the first sale? The first sale is to get them to pick up. What's the second sale? It's to get them to talk. What's the
Mm-hmm.
third? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This is something I learned from Taki Moore, if you're familiar with him in the coaching world. Like you're always doing the right next step for them. You're not jumping to closing them yet. And this is what I'm talking about in improving your skill sets step by step. Like, how do I improve them being happy when they talk to me? How do I improve making the conversation go on?
Mm-hmm.
And again, last thing, decentration, concentration. Right? I think there's a video I did, one of the first ones called the spiral sales method. If you watch the first bit of that, I talk about like getting them open-minded and opening their awareness to the possibilities they have not seen is going to be much better to then close them down into the sale. If you get a hold of someone and you just spiral them into your offer, they're going to say no.
Mm-hmm.
You have to open their awareness of what you're offering to be able to then pull it back into that to the yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's rapport and all that. And understand like rapport is real. It's an energetic concept that when someone is built rapport, like they will mimic you. Like they'll start to say the words you say, they'll start to have postures the same way, all those things. So when you understand like the deep reality of these things, it makes you appreciate the nuance so much more.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Duly noted, yes.
All right, guys, I got to run. I got a crying baby, but thank you for
Thanks,
showing
Ryan.
up. And
All right,
check out
brother.
that recording on spiral sales. It's a good one.
See, I appreciate you,
Spiral
Ryan.
sales.
Yeah, spiral sales method I did.
Copy that.
And
Thanks,
then
Ryan.
Watch Matt's recordings that Jack mentioned. Those will be really great on numbers.
I will.
All right, see you
Thanks,
guys.
brother. Cheers.